Um, just on what Bob was saying as well, what is fantastic, I'm sure most of you have seen, the level of debate and the contributions to this debate have been amazing. And you do have writers like Alan Bissett. I would urge all of you to go onto YouTube and put in Alan Bissett's Vote Britain. And if you've ever swithered about voting yes, that is just fantastic. I would also, as part of this whole debate, apart from the Common Weal, which has been an absolutely wonderful contribution, Jimmy Reed's new book, as was In Place of Fear Part 2. Jim Stiller, sorry. I was with him and Margot on Saturday, and he gave me a copy, and I read it, the pre-copy as well. Really important contributions to thinking about the type of Scotland we want to live in. And can I also recommend Leslie Riddoch's Blossom. Fantastic book. And for me, that clicked a great deal in as far as the tribal almost allegiances to the Labour Party. And we do have to remember that, you know, for my grandparents, it was the Labour Party that delivered the inside toilet. It was the Labour Party, but, you know, we may criticise and all of that, and there's lots of argument, but we have to remember that at its best, what the Labour Party gave to this country and helped lots of people within the Labour movement fight for. And that was a discussion I had with Jim Sellers the other night as well, that one of the problems between the SNP and him many years ago was when Winnie Ewing came to a meeting in Ayr and actually did a whole routine slagging the Labour Party. And he said that was not what to do, because this was an audience of people who were in a decent council house because of the Labour Party. And we must remember it's only a generation or 2 generations ago, and that loyalty goes very, very deep in people here in Scotland. Anyway, we've got the blessed Alex is here now. There we are. Thank you very much. Again, as I intimated earlier, you know, it's a brave thing that Alan Grogan has done in setting this up, but it is also a very, very brave thing that Alec Mosson, so imbued with the Labour Party and all the involvement over many, many years, in fact, you were my councillor when I lived in Scotland many years ago, has taken this very, very important step to put the people of Scotland before an allegiance to a party. So please, a big round of applause for Mr. Alec Mosson.
Thanks, Elaine. And I was your councillor in Anderson, but you were a member of the branch in Scots and White Inch. That's right. I don't think you paid your dues, but never mind. It was relatively easy for me to declare for the Yes campaign, because I've been a Republican, supporting a Republican ideology and philosophy and strategy ever since I can remember. I support the Republic of Ireland, the United Ireland. I support self-determination for Nicaragua. I support independence for Palestine. I support these struggles that have taken place throughout the world, and I'm delighted that so many people here this evening have been involved in a lot of these struggles as well, and they know the struggle that faces us in September. The struggle to get people to start thinking about what this vote's about. Elaine touched on someone having a go at the Labour Party and thinking that this is a vote for Alex Salmond, and try to get it across to people that it's not about a party. It's about a country. It's about the opportunity for us to decide which direction we want that country to go in after the yes vote. Do we want it to be a left, progressive, forward-looking and fairer Scotland? And I think the answer is yes. But I think this is something that we've got to try and get across to people. The idea that this is an opportunity which came along because of the hard work. And you've got to give credit to the SNP, because that was their driving force to get to this stage. And we've got to remember, as you did touch on, Elaine, the fact what the Labour Party has done, the creation of the welfare state, the National Health Service, the nationalised industries, which created the employment for generations and allowed the social housing programme to develop and to try and ensure that people had a better quality of life. And then, when we achieved all these things, we started to lose direction. Somebody says the moral compass. Well, we can regain the moral compass if we look for a Scotland with that left perspective, because the opportunity to change the political direction in Westminster, I think, is long gone. I'm not giving up totally, but I think that the difficulty is because of the numbers game. And I think the important thing for us to remember is this small country's been given an opportunity to show the world what it can achieve. And we know that there's been many, many people from Scotland who have given the world many, many progressive things, things that we take for granted now. The steam engine, the telephone, Fleming, penicillin. I think they're stopped doing it now, by the way. It's an argument with the doctor whether you get an antibiotic or no. I usually always win, but never mind. That I think that the importance is this: we should never understate the thinking and the intellect of the ordinary people. That's what they have done for years. They have treated us as if we don't know what's going on, and we do know. And I remember a long time ago, two Tory lords were talking, and they says, the worst thing we ever done was introduce the Education Act. And I knew right away it was us he was talking about. So what I'm looking for is to work together with people who have got maybe a different kind of attitude towards where they want to see Scotland. I love for Scotland, but I love for a country to determine its own direction in order to be a fairer, more just society. We've shown that in the past. There was thousands of people marched against the illegal war in Iraq, right through this city. But they marched through other cities in Scotland as well, and through the length and breadth of the United Kingdom. But there's always been an extra passion exists, and has existed and still does, in the Scottish. Probably it's because we're such a mix. I come off of an Irish background. So many people come from so many different aspects and backgrounds, because it was welcoming. Wasn't always welcoming, by the way, but we've got to say that, haven't we? You know what I mean? London, me, London, and Anderson, you know what I mean? So we were all right, but we said people at London and Ibrox, they were back in trouble. I'm only kidding, by the way. When I make fall, I'm only kidding. Anyway, I think the important thing is there is a desire to seize this opportunity, because there's people fighting the armed struggle to get an opportunity for their own independence. And here we're getting it. We're making a mark, a cross on a ballot paper. We shouldn't ignore it. We should vote yes, because if we don't, we'll regret it. Thank you.
Much to read. Thank you, Alex.